In the dead of the night, she was dragged and buried alive under the ground by her own brothers. Hello everyone, you're watching Lows and Lashes and I'm Swanali. Today, while sharing two very creepy folklores, I'm going to share this makeup look. I hope you like it. If you have any comments, please comment in the comment section. Let's get started. Let's go back to the year of 1780. A merchant was passing through the cold forests of Campagnac in Brittany, France, at dawn, just as the fog lifted above the moat of Château de Trécesson. Let's go back to the year of 1780. A merchant was passing through the cold forests of Campagnac in Brittany, France. At dawn, just as the fog lifted above the moat of Château de Trécesson, he saw a woman in blue wedding dress standing motionless by the water. Her gown was wet, her hair plastered to her cheeks, and her hands scraped and torn. When he called out to her, she simply drifted backwards and disappeared into the mist. That report became the first of the hundreds. Over the next few centuries, the sightings never changed. Fishermen described a pale bride gliding across the stone bridge, her footsteps leaving no sound. Tourists in the early 1900s claimed she appeared near the forest edge, soaking wet, staring at them with hollow, pleading eyes. Even wedding guests, ironically, have spotted her silhouette reflected in the moat behind them during photographs. But the strangest part was never the gown or the silence. It was her hands. Every witness described her fingers looking raw, like she had clawed on something for hours in pure desperation, filled with blood dripping everywhere. Locals eventually gave her a name, the Lady in Blue. She is always seen moving towards the forest, never away from it, forever drawn to the place where her life was taken. No one really understood who was she until it was a little bit research that brought up an incident that had become a distant folklore in Brittany. In the late 15th century, an event so cruel happened that the land itself still seems to remember. One autumn night, a nobleman riding through the Trécesson forest noticed two men digging a deep grave. At first, he thought it was some midnight burial for a noble family. But then he saw it. They weren't burying the dead, they were burying the living. A young woman dressed in a blue wedding gown was being lowered into a wooden coffin. She wasn't unconscious, she wasn't peaceful, she was begging. Her voice cracked through the trees, pleading for mercy. But the men said nothing. They shut the lid. They nailed it down and they covered her with soil. The rider, horrified, fled to find help. But he was alone in the forest estate miles from the nearest village. By the time he returned with assistance at sunrise, the earth was still and silent. The men were gone. Only the disturbed soil remained. They unearthed the coffin. When they opened it, the woman's fingers were broken, covered in blood. She had spent her last moments clawing the lid. pulling splinters, screaming until the dirt muted every single sound. She suffocated in complete darkness, buried alive by her own brothers. But why? They say that their sister had defied them and secretly planned to marry a man from a rival family. In their rage, they believed death was better than dishonor. Since that night, every appearance of the lady in blue was one thing in common. She looks exactly as she did the moment she died. Her gown wet with groundwater, her face pale from suffocation, her hands shredded from clawing through the wood and earth. She never attacks, she never speaks. She simply walks towards the forest, towards the place where she begged for help but never arrived. Even today, visitors at Château de Trécesson say that during early morning mist, they can hear a faint scratching sound coming from the ground near the moat, as if someone beneath the earth is still trying to find her way out. Doesn't the story is very relatable as we hear about the honor killings? Quite similar, right? Until such cruel crimes become folklores. Anyways, let's move on to our next story. So one of the earliest stories comes from the late 1800s. A young toddy tapper named Kumaran often walked through the forest path to reach home. Every night he felt the same thing, a strange stillness. No frogs croaking, no crickets singing, just the soft sound of a woman's anklets somewhere behind him. But whenever he turned around, he found nothing. One night, after finishing work late, he saw a woman standing under a palm tree, her skin glowing faintly in the moonlight, her white sari gently lifting in the wind, her hair long enough to touch her waist. She looked lost. Kumaran asked, "Are you alone? Do you need help?" She nodded without words. He offered to walk her to the village. As they walked, she never spoke, but the anklet sound never stopped, bright, rhythmic, echoing even on the dirt road. Kumaran thought she was simply nervous, but then he noticed something. Her shadow was missing, and when the moonlight hit her feet, they weren't facing forward but backwards. Before he could react, she turned towards him. Her hair fell away from her face, revealing eyes red like burning oil lamps. Her lips stretched too wide, her skin cracked like something no longer human. The forest went silent. What happened next is not exact a folklore. Stories differ though. Some say Kumaran ran and lived. Some say the forest swallowed his scream. Some say Yakshi spared him because he showed kindness. But from that night on, villagers refused to use that path after sunset. In one of the most known Kerala origin stories in India, a Yakshi was once a beautiful woman named Sridevi. She was loved by everyone in her village except her husband, who grew jealous of the attention she received from everywhere. Unable to bear his insecurity, he plotted to kill her. One evening, he convinced her to take to a walk through the woods. There, under a banyan tree, he ended her life coldly, quickly, without remorse. He left her body for the animals and returned home with a lie. But the land always keeps its memories. A spirit born from betrayal does not sleep easily. Sridevi rose again, not as herself but as Yakshi, a wandering soul searching endlessly for the justice she never received. People say Yakshis choose men who walk alone. They appear gentle first, asking for help, smiling softly, behaving shyly. But once the man follows her into a quiet moonlit place, her form changes. But interestingly, some versions say a Yakshi is not always evil. She can also be a protector of women, warning them away from the dangerous paths and punishing only men with cruel intentions. In many temples of Kerala, there are shrines dedicated to Yakshis. Treated with respect, offer jasmine flowers and oil lamps as if people understand that her anger is not mindless but born from a wound too deep to heal. Today, even with highways and bright lights, older villagers still say if you see a woman standing alone under a palm tree, if her anklets ring through her feet, do not move. If the air around her feels too still, do not call out to her, do not help. Because some stories still walk the roads after dark. She isn't waiting for company, she's waiting to be remembered. And that is the story of Yakshi. Over the history in India, we have seen the reference of Yakshi again and again. I was thinking of bringing up another story of Yakshi because yes, in this video I couldn't cover all the parts of Yakshi, but yes, what was the origin of Yakshi, the witch in South India. And that is all for today's video, guys. I hope you like it. Stay safe. Good night.